Mic check. Okay. Audio. Alright. This is Major Richie, and I'll be showing a beginner's tutorial for this game. There are many guides out there for this game, but I don't know. Kind of felt like doing one of my own. I'll be showing all the beginner stuff and whatnot. So most of the basics. I'll be showing the route of the speedrun from normal percent. This is also on a emulator, so it'll be a bit easier for me to show some rooms over and over, the more complicated rooms, like some of the beginner and easier strats, and then I might show some of the more advanced ones, which I might really not touch on because there's other guys for that. But I'll show some of the optional pickups and pickups that are along the route. Okay, so this is chapter 1. Oh, and by the way, the timer, if you're going to speedrun this game, and I'm assuming you're doing so if you're watching this guide, your timer starts right when you hit that X button at that chapter screen. So this is also RTA, real-time attack, so you can't pause the timer in any way. The timer doesn't stop until you kill Femora in chapter 16. So once you start the timer, it doesn't stop. Like, you can't take any breaks or whatever. So you better be ready once you start that timer. So here, it's the first optional pickup. It's a small heal. If you're pretty new to the game, you've only played the game like, once or twice, I'd recommend picking it up. I won't go over roll jumping too much. You can kind of see my inputs on my controller. Another reason why I wanted to do emulators, because I can do input display. It's a lot harder to do that if you're on console. So, for the majority, I would say 80% of the run you're going to be doing this. Left trigger A, left trigger A. Right trigger to use your fixed camera. And then on landing, on inclines, so you can see me flicking my left stick to do that. So this inclined area, it's a bit faster to do an on landing jump, like this. It's a little bit quicker, but it's not necessary when you're starting out. So up here, there's a chest here. There's another small hill if you want that. Go up here. 2 brown ninjas are gonna spawn. You just get these guys. Don't kill them. Take this if you need it. Great spirit. We skip these guys as well. Go up here. Roll in. Roll into the cutscene. Then you destroy this first torch. And hold left trigger. See, as I'm holding the left trigger, the essence doesn't, I don't absorb it, but right when I let go of it, reabsorbs it. I should have put a save state there, but I'll just do the second torch. So you hold it, and roll jump out of the way. You have 10 seconds to get into the room we need to get into. Get past these guys, go through the door, and hold Y. Okay. I didn't show that properly. I have to reset the game. Okay. So what you want to do is you want to pull that license until sorry for the volume. Okay. New game. normal, whatever costume you want. Doesn't matter which costume you pick. So if you're speedrunning, yeah, the emulator takes a bit longer. Okay, hit X, start your timer. Skip the cutscenes as fast as possible. Pick this up if you need it. Also have your karma window open, it's required for speedrun. It also gives you valuable information. Move the hill if you need it. That could be a little tricky to go up on first starting out. Great spirit here if you need it. Let me kind of forgot how to do save states. I think it's save. Yeah. Okay. Sorry, I'm just doing this as I go. You can skip ahead to the part you want to see. Okay. So you attack this first torch and roll away from it while holding left trigger. Roll away, you have 10 seconds. 9 to 10, roughly. Jump over here, hold Y. Absorb 2. UT's fine. You'll be safe with money. Okay, go through this door. You just follow my route. Watch my inputs. I like to get rid of that paper thing. Grab that, go over here. I'm going to do this little puzzle part. Grab this talisman. Not required, but it's a good safety net. Over here. Starting out, I would pick up both of these heals. Make a save here if you'd like, for practice. Here's where you on land. Not everybody on lands here, but I do. It saves like a second or two. Right here, get this torch for the essence. Jump over. Try to kill at least one. Do that combo. It usually kills them every time. So right about here, you're going to want at least 1,000. See right here I have 1,800 because I did UT attacks and some ETs. So with a UT, which is an ultimate technique, when you hold your charge and you absorb 2 yellows or 1 blue or 1 red, you do an ultimate technique. And that gives you 7 times the amount of essence they normally would give you. And an essence technique, which is just 1 yellow, you'll get 3 times the amount. So you need a minimum of 1,000 essence at the end of chapter 1 for the money route at the first merchant. Okay, so this guy. So just X, Y, and then on landing Y. Just watch my inputs. Messed up there because I pressed forward on my stick. That's good. That's a decent fight. So, what time did I get here? 4:38. I'll say like a decent time for each chapter as I finish them. I'd say a decent time starting out would be trying to get under 4 minutes, and then better would be under 3:30, and then you want to get to the point where you can get under 3. That's like the ultimate goal, is getting under 3. But I'd say 3:10. Getting under 3:10 is really good. But yeah, at first your goal should just getting under 4. And then you just move on to the next chapter. Another important thing this menu gives you is it gives you an essence amount. So you have, if, like for example, if you have under 1,000, you'd have to kill a few enemies in the next chapter to get 1,000. So yeah. So you look here, you have over 1,000 in your essence, you're good. And then proceed to the next chapter. That's chapter 1. I clicked out of the game. Alright, now for chapter 2. Chapter 2. This is probably one of the most reset heavy chapters in the game because solely of Masakato, the horse boss in this game. He can just, the idea like how to beat that boss optimally is just shoot arrows at him constantly and hope that they land and hope he doesn't deflect them. Because if he just deflects and whatnot, it's a lot more difficult to bring him down because he's hard to fight toe to toe. Well, not hard to fight, but he's hard to fight. He's hard to beat quick toe to toe, I should say. So here's his general movement. You just watch my inputs. It's not the best movement ever, but you get the general idea of where to go. So if you didn't pick up those items before, you can pick them up now. Those chests. Pick this up. This is a mandatory pickup, which we'll be using in certain parts of the run. Right here is another optional pickup. This is a small heal. Pick it up if needed. I'll just be showing the ones that are not too far out of the way. There's a lot of heals in this game, and there's a lot to pick up, but they're a little too far out of the way. So here, just movement. And, okay, here's the first little skip of the game, which is fairly difficult to do. Let me make a save here. This is called the river skip. I'll just show it and then I'll explain it. Oh, I messed it up. Okay. Run almost to the edge, delay that X slightly as you're in midair, and then hit Y. I'll do it one more time. Because if you don't do it that way, you land in the water, and it takes Ryu a while to get out of the water. It's a long animation. So just follow my inputs. That's river skip. Save here if needed. In the run, you can load a save if you die. It doesn't matter because it's RTA. It doesn't interrupt anything. It just messes with the IGT, which the IGT doesn't matter as far as rankings on the leaderboard. So if you die, or if you're at a point in the game where you kind of afraid you're about to die, or you're scared of that part, you just save, and if you die, you can just reload from that. This is another hill, I think. Yeah, a lot of hills in this game. And there's another one, I believe, to your left on a corpse. I'll show it, since this is like a super beginner tutorial. Yeah. I'll just show the ones in the path. Pick this up, we'll need it later. Skip this. And then right here is a text skip. Not too difficult to do, but difficult enough that I have to explain. So basically you roll into the merchant that's directly below us and hit X at the same time, and it cancels the text. And it saves about 5 seconds. I messed it up. If you don't roll directly into him, you'll get that text, which is what you don't want. Let me try it again. So, drop down, roll back, mash X. Almost didn't get it again that time, but yeah. So just roll into it, mash X, just follow the inputs on my input display. Go all the way down. Buy this and mash B. That saves a few frames if you mash B there and then throw a little shuriken and roll back. It interrupts the swing animation of Ryu's sword. So right here I would pick up this, pick up that, roll into the door. That's something I highly recommend doing, is rolling into doors and mashing X. Because sometimes Ryu, instead of going into doors, he'll want to attack an enemy instead, like he did there. So what you want to do is you want to roll into them and mash X instead. It'll save you a lot of grief. Pick up these arrows, hit start. This is the first menu of the game. Over 1. So I think, yeah, at this point, this is what your menu should look like when you open it. Like if you haven't used a heal or anything. So over 1, down 2, bow, right, boom, and you're done. That's the first menu. Okay, this is the horseman fight. This is a fairly technical fight, so I'm not going to over-explain it. Because there's, you know, other guides for this, but I'll just showcase it. So you want to get as close to this horse as you can possibly can. You guy on the right. Hit him with the ore of your essence. Jump over here, do it on landing. And when you pop that fireball, hold the left stick back. Like you can see in my input display to hold it about like this. About at 8 o'clock. And you should get that guy in the back every time. The other horse guy. So. And right here, I was probably kind of slow here. So go down to use both of these items. Exit. Another thing too, don't mash B to exit your menu, hit start. They missed this guy, but it's okay. Another on landing. If you do it like this, just pick up the essence. It's no big deal. Let me do that one more time, but I'll show you what it's supposed to look like. If I can. over him on landing. I normally don't pick up, well, ever. I never pick up that Great Spirit, so like it's kind of throwing me off. Stand about right here. Wait till they land. Same thing with the horse. You want to kind of encourage Ryu to throw that fireball towards those guys, because if you don't point the left stick towards the enemies on the ground, sometimes he'll just throw that fireball towards the wall or something. So you want to try and encourage him to throw it at the guys. So try to grab all this essence before this cutscene, because it's kind of an auto scroller. And then here's a free heal. I would highly recommend, I mean everybody picks that up, so I would just pick it up. Make a save here. I would save here and practice this boss a handful of times. He's not really a hard boss, but sometimes it can give you weird patterns. So I'd recommend making a save. So the idea with this boss is just I'll let Ryu do the work here, and just let him shoot. Don't try to aim. Something you can do if you see he's blocking like a lot, go for this. He's blocking a lot. I mean, if I got that fight, I'd probably reset. Let me try one more time, see if I can get lucky with these arrows. Okay. Pick this up. Okay. That was extremely unlucky. That's an example of RNG. Okay to heal here. If you need to heal, go for it. Sometimes these guys spawn next to you, it's fine. Another thing to keep in mind too is to stay around where I'm at. I don't know if you can see this little line, this little mark here. You don't want to cross this line. You want to stay back here as much as possible and play defensive. And just shoot your arrow. And always keep your camera facing forward, because if you have it facing like this, the mages will start teleporting around you for some reason. So you want to keep it facing forward, and like if you see it moving over here or over here, you want to readjust and put it back. The only reason you wouldn't want to readjust is if Masakawa's health is like almost depleted, and you're just like one hit away, so you just, you know, finish him off, that's fine. But if it's the beginning of the fight and your camera comes over here, I would move it back into position. They already pick up counterattacks. I assume you know how to do counterattacks and all that, so I'm not going to explain it. Alright, that's chapter 2. First 2 chapters are pretty straightforward, especially if you've played the game before. You know, it's just the matter of learning the route and the pickups. Horseman fight probably take a little bit of practice, but it's not too difficult. Let me get a drink of water here. I'm not sure how many chapters I'll do. I'll do a few. Chapter 3 is a pretty technical, probably one of the more technical chapters in the whole run. Could take me a little bit to explain it. Okay. So let's move on. If I can skip this cutscene. Yeah, okay. So, I'd say a good time for this chapter is the same as chapter 1. Try to get under 4 minutes in-game time. Now, the only reason to really pay attention to your in-game timer is the chapter screens. It sort of gives you like a general idea how good that particular chapter was. Sort of a rough, whatever. It's not the most accurate thing, but it gives you an idea how well you're doing with that chapter. So probably below 4 minutes, and a really good chapter 2 would be, you know, like around a 320 down to like, you know, 315. That's like ideal. So chapter 3. Be sure to skip these cutscenes as fast as possible because this is RTA real-time attack. So some games that are IGT, the timer will pause during cutscenes and doors, but not in this game. You have to mash through those cutscenes and doors. So, and door loads. I mean, this cutscene too. Just mash.
The holy.
Okay, you want to pick this up? This is a mandatory pickup. And this door here, I guess I didn't explain door mashing. So you can skip the door load. So you want to, what I like to do here, this is like a little, you know, like buffering inputs, but you hit X, because you can skip doors with A or X. I'm not sure if you can do it with B or not. You can't do it with B. Y maybe? No. So I think it's only A and X that skip doors. So what I like to do is sometimes, or most of the time, is when I'm going through a door, I hit X and I point my stick where I want to go and mash A and Ryu jumps immediately. Rather than you skip the door and just mashing X, he'll just be, you know, he'll either attack or whatever. So you want to mash A. And jump in the direction you want to jump. Same here. Okay, we pick up this chest. This is a mandatory pickup. You have to pick up this map, or you can't, or it won't. The next mandatory fight won't trigger. So you have to go in here and get this map. So that's the quick map skip, which I don't really understand why that happens sometimes. Sometimes you just hit that frame perfect like I did, I assume. That's what I think. You hit that frame perfect on the skip while mashing beta to leave the map screen. Sometimes it'll just be a black screen, and you'll get like a double audio. Pretty rare. I'd say you hit that chest about, 10 times, you probably get that 4 times. So it's strange. You don't even have to mash that hard. You're just pressing X. It'll give you a weird quick. It saves you about a second or so. So you skip these guys, jump in the door. So this fight's pretty technical. So you want to kill this white guy. There's two soldiers in here. There's a white soldier and a black soldier. You want to kill the white soldier first. Like this. Why counter this guy? If they drop you a blue, do a UT, wait for him to get up. Go over here. Drops a yellow. Go into this door and mash X. Go over here, mash this door, mash this door. Wind path. Through here. Sometimes you get all three, and that's okay. This game is all about, especially in fights, is adaptation. Things are not always going to play out the way you want them most of the time. So you have to do these fights a lot and be able to adapt to a weird pattern. So unfortunately I forgot to save before that back room, so I'm just gonna have to watch it back, and I did it fairly well. Unfortunately that blue dropped, but that's okay. Jump into this elevator. It's sort of an auto scroller because it's showing you where that little piece of intel is and the gold scarab, which you don't need to pick up. Through here. Okay, and I left a yellow essence behind, by the way, so you have 10 seconds to come back here and use it. So what I do here is I wind path and try to kill both these guys at the same time. Right here I like to stand like right in front of the elevator door and mash Y. Hold Y. And you get a double and it kills him instantly. Same here, mash X, go back into the elevator. A little bit of a backtrack here. I like the wind path here. Skip these guys. I'll make a save here. Just in case I fall. I personally like the wind path here because you can accidentally jump off the edge. Pick up these arrows. Hit that box. Leave the essence. Don't absorb it. 3 cranks. And then hold Y. Hold Y. Hold Y. Move over. Hold Y. I like to hold guard and mash X there. Crank it about right here. Or one more crank. And go to the mark where I'm at, this middle mark. Shoot these guys with the arrow. So stand about right here, where I'm standing. And then just jump forward. You should hit that zip on every. It looks scary, and to be honest, I failed it a few times, but if you do it right, you shouldn't fall. Okay, right here, roll jump, roll into him, and forward block. Do that attack. Very important. Not this attack, or this, or he'll just block it. You want to do the attack where Ryu drags his sword. I think this is another heal. if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, another small heal if you need it. See, let's see how many small heals we have at this point. We already have 8. 10's the max. So you can see how generous this game is with heals. And I have 2 Great Spirits, so that's a pretty good amount of heals. So in here, break through this window. Nothing fancy here, just kill these engines. Mash this text, jump back. Here is our second big menu. Lunar, Smoke Bomb, and Fire Wheels. That's it. A little bit of backtracking again. Right here. Here I like the wind path. It's a bit of a comfy way to do these stairs. Which is nice. I personally have wind path on my RB since it's easier to do. And I use it a fair amount throughout the run, so it warranted that. Most of the other runners, they have, you know, they have Nimpo on their RB. I'm kind of a dying breed. There's only like a couple of people that have it on RB like that, but I find Wimpath extremely useful, so I have it on RB. And then your Nimpo would have to be on BY, which is fine. I mean, it does make some of these like on landing jump heavy areas where there's no enemies a bit more comfortable, so you don't have to, you know, do the normal flicking the stick forward and pressing A. It gets tiresome after a while. But yeah, it's whatever you prefer though. You can do it the other way with these stairs. Kind of over explaining these stairs, but you don't want to just walk up them. You lose probably 10 seconds if you do that. So you want to just, way easier than it looks. Jump here, roll into the door. Always roll into your doors. Throw the smoke bomb here. Pick up this heal. This heal is not. Yeah, this is a mandatory heal, I would say. I used to skip it, but I don't want to skip it anymore. Let's go over here. So now we're about to approach the boss for this chapter. So I'll show some movement here that's kind of fast way to exit this crank area. So basically, you just watch my inputs on my controller. So you hold your left stick back at around 8 o'clock, and then after the first jump, you move it to 11 o'clock. Like so. I did it wrong. So you'll be sitting by right here. Son of a bitch. Okay. Let me go back down. Here, where you be like this. For some reason I can't do it because I've already used the crank and the camera got weird. But just forget it. It's not that big of a deal. It saves you like 1 second. So sorry about that. Okay, so the next boss is Dynamo. So the main attack you're going to be doing is the XY combo. And popping smoke bombs as you need them. I'll just show how the fight looks first. Fly. Pop fire wheels. Use your other devil. Pop fire wheels. That's an ideal pattern. That's the pattern you want. If you pay attention to your karma window, if you have over 40 seconds left, you got a really good dynamo. Mid 30s is like standard, and then below that is a bad one. So keep an eye out for that. Okay. Skip this cutscene as fast as possible. Don't watch that. Because the timer's still going. Okay. So here you look at your essence. If you see it over 3K, that means you're good for the next merchant. If it's under 3K, you might have to get a few yellows. So, and I'll show a optional chest pickup. If you use a lot of heals at this point, like if you're really new to the game, it's good to pick up this chest and get all these heals in the next chapter. So I guess I'll go ahead and explain the next chapter because it's pretty straightforward too. One second. So now we're in chapter 4. It's a long speed run, by the way. It's I'd say starting out you probably land around 2 hours and 10 minutes. And then once you get better, you get out around get to around an hour and 50. That's like the average time is an hour and 50. So every time you do runs, be ready. Better make time for it because it's RTA. You know, if you have to go to the bathroom or anything like that, you better do that beforehand, or it'll kill your run. Because if you get interrupted anyway during this run, it's over. So just be aware of that. Chapter 4, pretty straightforward chapter. It's just racing to the merchant, pretty much. Don't know why I can't skip this cutscene. Okay, it's right here. Throw a smoke bomb. You can do that without the smoke bomb, but I wouldn't recommend it. I'm not gonna explain the movement here. It just takes practice. Try to avoid what I'm doing there, which is wall running. It's slower than just doing roll jumps. Try to get as close to this wall as you can. Then XY combo these guys. XY. XY. Roll back. Do that. Hold Y. That'll get you almost directly in front of that door if you do it right. So hit X. You can pop a smoke bomb there if you want. Just follow my lines. Go up here. Our next menu is coming up. Try not to wall cling like I'm doing. Pick this up. Jump and hit start. So use your devil, and also this is a good opportunity to look at your money too. So if you have over 3K here, you don't have to worry about money. So with that and equip Inferno. Do a forward Y on the land there, it saves a few frames. And then roll back. Try to land at the edge of this door on the other side. Roll. XY. Use Inferno immediately. You should always kill both those turtles. Try to get as close to this lever as you possibly can. Do a running X. Save a few frames. Roll into this door and mash X. Okay, now here I'll show you where the optional chest is. I believe it's a 5K chest. 5K essence, I mean. Close. It's like whatever, how much it is, like 4,800. which is quite a bit. You can almost fill up completely with small elixirs. Skip these guys. Use that little X there to gain a little bit more distance so you don't fall. As you get more comfortable with these areas, you can roll jump through them. Pick that up. That's a mandatory pickup, by the way. That great devil. And then hit this. And by the way, only pick up items that I'm picking up. Don't stray away from those items. Yeah. Like don't be picking up any scarabs or any healing items that are out of the path that I haven't shown. Because it'll waste time. Pop a smoke here. Go in here. Mash this cutscene. Get the dragon sword. If you mash left trigger and back on your left stick, Ryu will roll back. Because you get a tiny frame where you have control of Ryu during that little cutscene where you're exiting the merchant menu. Get a tiny bit of few frames there where you have control of Ryu. You can roll back and save probably like 0.5 or something. Like nothing crazy, but it's big for this chapter because this chapter's pretty optimized. Just roll jump here. You can throw a smoke bomb there if you want. That's chapter 4. Chapter 4 is pretty easy. It's just being familiar with it. And that chest, by the way, you can skip that if you want, if you don't need it. If you're pretty comfortable with this game, you just skip that chest. But it's like, if you're like starving for cash, that only kills about 15 seconds, so it's fine. If you're fast at picking it up. If not, it's like 30 seconds. So that's chapter 4. Same with the, I forgot to say what a good chapter 3 was. A good chapter 3 is around a 6:30 IGT, which is in game time, the chapter screen. So for chapter 3, try to aim for 6 minutes and 30 seconds. And then when you get really good, you can get under 6 minutes. And then the optimal times are below a 540. So. And for chapter 4, I would aim for below a 345. And then slowly work your way to like the teens, like a 315 to a 310. And the best times are around or below a 306. So yeah. So watch out for that. Chapter 5. I'll do chapter 5 as well, why not? It's not too complicated either, it's mostly just racing to the boss. Okay. Chapter 5. Jump back, mash X, open this. It's a mandatory pickup, it's a key. Try to hit Y rather than where you land on the ground. Takes a bit of intuition to get that, but you'll get it eventually. Just follow my movement here. Nothing crazy, just skipping fights. Smoke bomb here. There's a heal here if you want it. stairs while I'm landing. That's what I mean about rolling into doors. Like I didn't do. It's risky. And Rhea will want to attack them instead. Right here is another little skip in the game. It saves probably about, I'd say 5 to 7 seconds. I'm not sure exactly how much, but it's a significant amount. So right when you get past this third ninja, you pop a smoke like this. Pretty close to that corner. And you get here quick enough, you should be able to pull this lever. Sometimes you'll see the prompt like that and you still won't get it. If you don't, just run over to the edge or run outside, then run back in. You'll despawn those ninjas and then come back in and do it. If you don't get it, it's fine. It doesn't matter. I mean, the run's 2 hours long. In the grand scheme of things, it's not that big a deal when you're starting out. When you're going for top times, though, you want that. So, yeah. Try to keep your lines good here, just like mine. That's why. When you're popping this menu, roll back like I did and hold left trigger so you don't absorb that yellow, because we need that. Equip Dragon Sword and Shuriken. Start, hold Y. Hold Y. Absorb this essence if you want it. It's a pretty decent amount of money. You can roll jump past this guy. He'll clip you sometimes, but it's whatever. This is an optional pickup. If you really need another heal and you want to go for this, go for it. But normally you would skip that. Especially if you're going for like a sub 150 or something, you need to start skipping those heals. So right here, I like to go over here to this mark. Like you see the star here on the ground. You hit about right here and it triggers it. Right here, yeah. Flying Swallow. Those guys won't die to the Flying Swallow every time because they have a random health pool. So sometimes it takes 2 Flying Swallows, which is unfortunate. So you lose about 2 seconds. So, and you want to get, you only need to kill 2 of them, and then it triggers the next cutscene with the red dinos. So yeah. At this point, make sure you have Inferno equipped, your Dragon Sword, and yeah. There's this cutscene. Fire on this guy. This guy. I got good RNG here, and he also getting me a red. It's pretty good. Normally you'd use your devil here. But yeah. I'd say
not bad. So
90% of the time you're not gonna have 2 in Nimpos here, so I'm not gonna use 2. So I'll just do it like I have 1. It's more realistic. So right here, switch to Fire Wheels. I like to mash that cutscene. You mash start and go directly into your cutscene, and then go over to Fire Wheels. Fire Wheels. hug, by the way, the tentacle hug, he'll do that like 85% of the time. On a rare occasion, he'll do a twirl, which is what you don't want. When he does the hug, and you want to do a essence technique, not an ultimate technique, because then Ryu, if you do an ultimate technique and attack those tentacles, he'll do the long animation of it, and you don't want that. You want to do the essence technique and wait till the last possible second and then release. And then you'll hit both of the tentacles. If you release too early, you might just hit one or neither. So release it right when you feel like you're about to get hit. It'll take a little bit of practice, but it's not that bad. But that fight in general it's one of the more difficult bosses to kill fast. He's not a hard boss, but it's a difficult boss to kill quickly because he'll do the twirl attack and he's moving around, so he'll bop you every once in a while and it'll kill like 3 or 4 seconds with every hit, so it's kind of an annoying boss. But that's just this game, almost some bosses are worse than others. I'd say Masakato is up there, and then both of the Almas. Pazu, the Chapter 10 boss. The dragon. I'd say the worst bosses are Masakato and Alma 1 and Alma 2 and Marvis at the end, because you're pretty much powerless to the RNG they can give you. If they give you bad RNG, they can just take minutes. They can take minutes off your time, so it kind of sucks, but that's just this game. I figured I'd just throw that in there. Not to discourage, but just be aware that it's a pretty RNG heavy game, since it's an action game, so it's So yeah, that's chapter 5. I would aim for I'd say at first I'd aim for getting under 5 minutes, and then after that below a 4:30, and then getting below a 4:10. That's when you start getting the good ones. Under a 4 is really hard to do. It takes a lot of experience to get that, but it's that'd be the ideal. Chapter 5 is getting under 4 minutes. So yeah, that's it. That's chapter 5. I think I'll go all the way to Alma 1. Okay. Chapter 6. This is... I would make a save here. Practice this chapter a lot. And then one of these chests... This one has a great... No, it's a Life of the Gods. I'm wrong. This one has the Great Spirit. Yeah. So you get one there. Let's check our heals. Get that out of my inventory. So we're maxed out on Great Spirits, and we only need one more elixir of the spiritual life. So, like I said before, this game is very generous with heals. So you should always have heals, especially if you're experienced with the game. With the route I'm showing you, should never not have any heals. Especially too if you pick up the money. And right after that, this is a quicker one than the other one because it's more in your path. See how Ryu will try to prioritize those bats that are way over there instead of the chests? That's why you roll into things. Oh, this is actually a small hill. So, yeah. So you get a big one back there and you get a small one there. So roll past these guys. If you need to buy heals, now's the time to do so. Now that there's a shop like directly in your path. If you have any excess No. I'd say don't do that. Never mind. Don't do that. Pick this up. This is a mandatory pickup. You need that devil. As well as the next devil. Or at least these are the devils I pick. I see other people skip this devil for some reason. It probably saves you 8 seconds or so. But you have to do another room differently, which is the way I don't do it. So I'll just pick up that devil. This room's pretty technical, so just watch me do it. Pop fire wheels. Now, I mean, I've been playing the game for a while, so these fights are pretty natural to me, so. But if your fight doesn't look like that, don't worry about it. Just kill those 6 guys. But the idea behind this room is to attack that flying monk the way I did, so he lands flat on the ground, so it takes him a long time to recover. Then you pop your fire wheels. And then stay at that spot, and it kills that guy. And then the next monk that spawns, he can spawn in 1 of 4 places. He can spawn directly in front of you, on the other edge of the room, or the other at the bottom of the stairs to the left, or to your right. So be aware of that, and try to get him as quick as possible, because the most annoying factor about these first 2 rooms in Chapter 6 that are forced encounters are the monks by far, because they can give you annoying patterns. They can just teleport around the room. So be sure to kill those guys first. Here's another heal if you need it. This is mandatory. You need to pick these up, or you can't progress the game. Same with this. This is mandatory. Okay. Over 2. Over 1. Shuriken. On the door. Go through this door. Do this puzzle. I don't know why I can't move that dial very quickly, but yeah. So what you do first, this is the most important part. Don't be afraid to use your incendiaries here. Actually, I encourage you to try to use all of your incendiaries, as many as possible, because you get a free refill later. So, just mimic the way I do it here. Try to pick this up right before that last guy dies. Point your stick around 11 o'clock. Oh, never mind. That statue animation, that little cutscene with the statue, if you point your stick to, I would say more like 10 o'clock, and hold that, you can move close to the door. That's kind of a free time save. So yeah. Pick this up. This is mandatory. If you miss this, if you fall down, you have to pick this up before the Alma fight in Chapter 7. Put the book here. Let's get this cutscene. But don't mash too hard or you'll do that. You'll go into your menu and you'll lose 2 seconds. Pick up these incendiaries off this corpse. I highly recommend making a save here. If anywhere you run, like if you're first doing runs, make saves here. Actually, better yet, I'll show you a better save. Okay. Before I do this, you have to do on landing jumps here to jump through the spikes, and this is how it's done. Now watch my inputs. Not like that. Just like that. Sometimes read while playing, that's okay. I don't know why I'm dead here. Just like that, on landing. Right here, what I like to do, it's a small little optimization. But jump over, do a 1 mil slash over here, and pick up this heal. I can't pick it up because I picked up like every heal in the game so far, so. Or I guess I could if you wanted to. And then. But this is a better save. Save here. When you're first learning the game, save. Because this game has no checkpoint. There is no checkpoint system in this game. Assuming if you're watching this video, you've played this game once or twice, so you know that already, but be aware of that. Because you're about to make a jump into the pit. And if you jump wrong into the pit, you'll fall into the hole and you'll die. And yeah, it's one of the few areas where, you know, if you fall too far, you'll die. So make a save here. So right here, I'm going to run about right here, this mark. And then just jump forward. Skip these guys. Just move in here. Just follow my roll jumps and stuff. What I like to do here is to kill like a bat or two and then drag that essence into the next room and do an ultimate technique to kill at least one imp and then get a little extra cash. I mean, it's like 1 second, so, but you're guaranteed to have a little extra cash. Hold Y. Sometimes it misses and most of Another thing to look out for too when you do these fights is to look at your karma window. It's very important. Not only the time is important to sort of gauge how well you did that fight, but to look at your kills. Because you can sort of overkill enemies in this game. Like you can continue to hit their corpse even though they're already dead. And that kind of wastes time. Or it does waste time. So you want to do optimal combos. Like efficient combos. You want to not exceed the amount of attacks you need to do with each enemy. So keep that in mind. So pay attention to your kill counter. So when you hit the enemy with a death blow, it will increase that death counter by 1, and you'll know that many attacks It's good enough to kill that enemy for the most part. Every once in a while, it might require one more attack because of the random health pool in this game sometimes. But try to use the same combos for certain enemies. But yeah, as you play the game, you'll notice that. Pick up these flails. This is a mandatory pickup. You have to pick these up. Pick up the flail. Inferno. I think I got a red earlier. So normally here, use your devil. And then go to the next room. This room. It's a fairly complex room, so you kind of get a feel when these boss or these whatever these things are called, bees, are about to swarm you. Then you hit your inferno, and then you kill a bunch at once. I'll just showcase it, and you'll see what I'm talking about. That's what you want. So there it requires 2 infernos. You can like spam incendiaries if you want to save a dempo for the next fight. That's up to you. It's not as fast, but you can do it that way if you like. But yeah, that's like what it looks normally. So jump over here. One incendiary. Charge one up. And try to kill 2 at a time. Only kill 1, that's unfortunate. Sometimes you get lucky and get 3. So if you look at your comma window there, if it says over 120 seconds, you have a good fight. Over 130 is ideal. So pick up the grail. It's a mandatory pickup. Hold left trigger, leave that yellow essence behind. Jump in here. I like to hold Y right after I kick that. Hit start. If you have 2 here, if you have 2 devils here, use them both. So then you can use an inferno for the for Bone Dragon. Stand in the middle. Wait for the timer to say 112, and then pop your inferno. And you want to kill the zombie that hit the button. So then the button pops up immediately. If you don't kill the guy or the zombie that smashed the button in, it won't pop out. And you have to kill that guy before the button pops back up. It's a required kill. You don't have to kill any of those other zombies. You just have to kill that one zombie. So keep that in mind. And look, pay attention to my karma timer. And see when I pop that inferno. It's very important. So pop it midway into 112 into 111. 111, you're starting to risk it a little bit. You could pop it too late. I'd say right when 112 is about to end, you pop it there. Your inferno in the middle, right on top of the button. Charge a UT here, an ultimate technique. Right here is just free money. This whole elevator sequence here where it's rising up is an auto-scroller, so you might as well use that to your advantage. Use an ultimate technique and get some free money. That's like 1,500 bucks. So that's 3 heals. Right here is another heal. If you want it. I'm maxed out, I can't carry it. Right here, if you're going for a really good time, you can skip these vets, go up the elevator. I wouldn't recommend that. Just kill the vets. By the way, sorry for the frame drops. It's the emulator, so not that great yet. But at least it's playable. Okay, the archers. I'll make a save here. So you can do the archers several ways. You can play it ultra safe. I'll show you the safe way first. Throw an incendiary. Even the safe way is tough. Okay. Let me show it one more time. Wait for this guy to shoot, jump forward, throw an incendiary. Wait for this guy to shoot, move forward, throw an incendiary. That's the super safe way to do that. Now this is the YOLO strat. I would not recommend the YOLO strat, but if you're feeling ballsy, go for it. This is just hoping that you don't get hit. See, you could just get hit by that third guy. Let's see if I can make it this time. See, so there are some. I believe that there are some game runs where those archers just never hit you, but other runs they'll hit you every time, or most of the time. Ugh, this is just one of those. They're just gonna hit you if you keep trying. So you just have to sort of try to play it safe. Yeah, they'll just be dead on. See. That's what it looks like. That's what yellow looks like. It requires a bit of luck. There are probably other ways of doing that. I would highly recommend looking at other guides other than mine. This is just a strictly beginner thing. So I would recommend doing the safe way. Blocking the first arrow they shoot, and throwing an incendiary. Hop to the next platform, throw an incendiary. Or block their arrow, throw an incendiary. Next one, block the arrow, throw an incendiary. Then move on. It only costs like a few seconds. So if your health is this low, like below half, I would heal. No, actually don't do that. Don't heal. But kill all the bats. Movement here just takes practice, especially this movement. Don't feel bad if you don't get that movement good, because it took me a really long time. I'm not gonna explain this boss that much because you can just watch my inputs and do the same combos I'm doing. XXY is the way to go. XYY is a bit risky. If you have an extra phono, you can pop it down. If you get hit by one of those bone shards, just roll all the way to the other ones and finish it. Got 20 minutes. Oh, that's a long chapter. Okay. Let me get a drink of water. Alright. So this chapter is a very RNG heavy chapter. You'll go through chapter 3, 4, and 5. Those are pretty light on RNG. They're pretty just skill-based chapters. It doesn't throw anything too crazy at you. Not like chapters 1 and 2. Chapter 6 it's regarded as one of the worst chapters in the game as far as speedrunning. It can just throw you the worst possible patterns for each fight. So, yeah, it's a reset heavy chapter. And so is chapter 7 because it has Alma in it, one of the most RNG bosses in the game, next to Awakened Alma. And yeah, Alma and Awakened Alma are the worst in Pazu. So yeah, that's chapter 6. And a time to aim for when you're starting out is trying to get below 11 minutes in game time with this timer here. As you get better, you want to start aiming for under 10:30, and then under 10 minutes is really good. An optimized time for this chapter is 9:20 or below a 9:30. Once you get in the 9:20s, you're doing really well. So yeah. That's chapter 6. I'll do chapter 7. Finishing chapter 7, this is around the halfway mark, I would say. Getting through chapter 7, not at chapter 7. When you finish chapter 7, it's around the halfway mark of this run. Okay. Alright, let's move on. Chapter 7. There's a few technical rooms in this game. So pick this up, mandatory pickup. Use it. Go over. Equip Dragon Sword. Look at your incendiary count. If you have 8 and above, you have enough. Starting out, I would max them out no matter what. But if you have below 8, when you're more experienced, refill them. Refill them up to at least 8 or 9. Like if you have 3 or 4 here, you have to refill them up to at least 7 or 8. So keep that in mind. Watch out for that, because it's useful later. Or it's needed later. Up here. all these little tricks I'm doing, watch my input display. I can't explain how to do like a forward X right when you land. It saves like a few frames. So you just have to rewind and watch my input. So go here, and what you need to buy is a Dragon Sword upgrade. If you don't have enough money here, it's a reset. It's a reset. But if you're dead set on finishing your run, especially if you're early on, you can go in there and kill some zombies with the ultimate technique, and you should have enough. Usually, if you don't have enough here, it should just be around, 4,600 or 4,700 essence, which is not that bad. So you can go kill some zombies and come back and buy it. But you have to get this Dragon Sword upgrade right now. And if you need them, max out your incendiaries. This is a map, don't pick it up. Make a save here. Make a save here. This is one of the hardest rooms in the game. So make a save. Practice, practice, practice. Jump over here, green blade. Just watch my inputs. Okay, to get on this platform, it's hard to explain, but you'll just have to watch my inputs and see how I do it. So, you run up this wall and BY. That's it. And you skip that whole puzzle. Like, if you're really having a hard time with that, you can just do it like this. You can... I'll show you the intended way of doing this room, which, once you get that, it's the intended way. It's harder than doing it the skip. So the intended way is to shoot that, and it creates a light bridge, and you're supposed to do it like this. I don't even remember the last time I did it like this. See how much harder that looks compared to just going over here. The problem too is, which I just remembered, is that if there's not an enemy up there, Free won't go up there. No matter how hard you try, he won't go up there. So if you kill both of those enemies before you go over there, you'll have to do the light bridge thing. So keep that in mind. Man, if you do this light bridge part, it probably kills about, I don't know how many seconds. Yeah, hit the blue button. I'll probably make a save state before Red Room because it's one of the hardest rooms in the game, in my opinion. Pick this up if you need it. Pick up these arrows. Those arrows are mandatory. You know what? Hold on. Okay. I gotta save here. I'll show the room, then I'll explain it after. So go in. Oh yeah. Have incendiary equipped. You shouldn't have bow equipped yet till chapter 8. Jump. B. 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 happens, it's okay. Just try to keep your footing. Stay calm. That's a pretty rough example of that room, but it's a way to adapt to it. So try not to panic. Oh. Okay, why? Oh, I didn't put space. I'll show it one more time. I'll try to do a clean example. B, B, and B. Jump, B, 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 B. Another thing too, always be watching my input display. I can't stress it enough because there's a lot of hidden tech that I'm probably not explaining. So always try to mimic what I do with my controller. So when I'm jumping and throwing those shurikens, especially after I kill the first guy, point your stick in the direction where you want the incendiary to go. This game doesn't have a lock-on mechanic, but it doesn't really need it because it's kind of hidden in the game, the lock-on. So when you're in mid-jump, you can encourage Ryu to throw the incendiaries a certain way. So you can throw it at the left guy, throw it at the right. Because if you just throw it at one guy, the other arrow guy will have loaded an arrow and he could shoot you. And chances are he will. Because the archers in this game are, they're just dog shit. So they're just that way. They can be not even facing you. They can do a full 180 and snap on you and shoot you. It's just the way those archers are. They're just awful. So yeah. Point the left stick where you want the incendiary to go. I'll show it back up straight if you get knocked off, which happens. So go in. Let's say you kill this first guy. No stress, you get a good run going. Oh, you get knocked off. It's better to go forward. Like you do it in the blue room. We call it the blue room because the room has a blue button. The red room way of getting on this platform is the timing is a lot more tight than the blue room. It's not as forgiving. So you can run up here. You have to delay that Y a bit more than the blue. If you press it too fast, you'll get this. These archers are being assholes. You'll get that every time. He'll attack the other guy. So you have to jump up and you have to delay it. You can go for an ET there if you have time and get a little extra money. Never hurts. So behind that door is another Hydra fight. So just kill him as fast as possible. And this is where we really start using Gleaming Blade. This is why we get level 3 Gleaming Blade. That devil's a mandatory pickup, by the way. You don't have to pick up that Great Spirit. With Great Spirits, you gotta be aware of your Great Spirit count. You need, I'd say starting out when you're new and not too experienced with the game, to have 5 going into Chapter 11. If you don't have 5 Great Spirit elixirs before Chapter 11, either buy more or get some of the backups that I showed you. At this point, you should have max, or at least 3. But be aware of that, because there's a strategy called the Dive of Death in Chapter 11. You need a minimum of 4 to do that dive. If you solely have Great Spirit Elixirs, you don't have any of these, you need a minimum of 4 Great Spirit Elixirs. So watch your Great Spirit Elixir count. Here's Hydra again, just flying swallow the tentacles. Hidden blade. Hidden blade. Hidden blade. Go on the metal like the first Hydra. Hold it on him. Don't do that, bro. He doesn't hug as much as the first guy. Okay. It's pretty rare he goes for a double hug here. No, actually he never does it, really. I don't think I've ever seen him do a double tentacle hug. They usually only do 1. So when you pick up that Lives of the Thousand Gods, don't use it yet. Optimally, I'll show you the way I did my menus. Other runners do their menus a bit differently, but everybody doesn't exceed the amount of menus you do. So that's important. The only reason you should open your menu again is if you either forgot something or you need to heal. Those are the only 2 reasons. Or if you are a bit new and you need to check your money. But eventually you shouldn't be doing that. You should be checking your money as you do your menus. So, yeah. I'll show you the menus you're supposed to be doing. Okay, this is a mandatory pickup. These archers will just hit you sometimes. It's just the way they are. Extremely annoying. I'm not even doing a run right now, and it pisses me off. Just roll jump through these bats. The water's a little weird on the emulator. Okay. Make a save here. Make a save here. Even better, make a save after you kill the black spider ninjas. After the elevator, then come back and save, so you don't have to kill those ninjas every time before the boss. But I'll just make the save now because I'm already here. So this is the next save I'd really recommend. Save before Alma, save before Red and Blue Room, save before the pit jump, and save before the zipline jump in Chapter 3. Those are the big ones. I made another one on accident, but you get the idea. And Ryu will not swim any faster no matter how hard you mash your A button, unfortunately. You know, actually that's fortunate, so that we don't have to mash like super hard or anything, so you can just barely tap it. That's as nice. Here I like to hold the left stick around 10 o'clock and do an on-landing gleaming blade. These Black Spider Ninja guys, play them very defensive. Go for that gleam, and then sorry, I got distracted. And then go for counterattacks. Specifically, the X counter, where Ryu does the kick. Kicks them up in the air, and then go into a Fiend Seal. I'll showcase that. No, actually I can't because they make a save, but yeah. I have to load that save by closing the game, but yeah. Do not do the Y counter, do the X counter, which is holding left trigger, block, and then hitting X when they attack you. It's okay. Alright. Okay, here's Alma. I'll do the fight, and then I'll explain it after. Remember, watch my inputs. This is our next menu. Once you get that second, you use your second Nimpo and it knocks her. Use your devil, great devil. Use your lives of the 1,000 gods. Do not use your jewel of the demon seal. We use that later on Inazuma. You do not have that Nimpo yet. Then go over to weapon, down 2, and equip your bow, which we need in chapter 4. And then hit start and continue the, this is called the Alma loop. Right there is perfect RNG. You are not going to get that. I get that probably 20% of the time. It's not very common. She usually dodges at least one fireball or the haste rate slash attack did at the beginning, which the haste rate slash is a charged attack that doesn't have a essence attached to it. It's a but if you okay, let me just show it again. This attack's pretty important. This is the attack you want to do at the start. So this attack, in the community we call this Blade of the Loser. In the mania it's called Blade of the Undefeated, but it's the Blade of the Loser because it's a pretty useless attack. I can't think of a situation where I'd want to do that. It's a long. It's just a shitty move. Don't do it. This is the move you want to do. When you see that aura around Ryu, that's when you know you've done it long enough. You hear that sound too? You don't want that. You don't just hear the grunt. You want this. But don't hold it too long, or you'll get an essence technique, and even longer will be an ultimate technique. So yeah. So go over here, and we do the haste rate slash first. Jump towards her. Do that combo. She hops up. Just kind of giving me a medium pattern here. We can mash those two because usually You'll be resting on the Great Devil because it's the last item you picked up. And then hit your bow. That's what happens if you're too late. Here, mash start as hard as you can. Because you'll always take damage from those first two attacks, or all the attacks, rather. But you want to hit start before you hit the ground, because you'll take more damage. And use a Great Spirit or a Elixir of Spiritual Life. And then try to re-knock her. By the way, when she does that move where she can, it's like she uses the force or something, I don't know. That's guaranteed damage. Just wait like a second and then do a flying swallow and it's guaranteed damage. See, just wait a second and go for the flying swallow. Also too, if she throws those pillars at you, try to get close and go for an Inferno. Because you have more of a chance of hitting her with that when she's doing the pillar throw. So I'll show that fight one more time because it's one of the most important fights to nail down. Because if you slip in any way during this fight, you could lose out on some really good RNG, and if you mess up a lot, she'll just keep dodging you. You don't want that. So haste straight slash. This is a funky. I don't think I've ever seen that in my life. Guaranteed damage. I got a little greedy there, but here, do your menu. Okay, that's all my... See, all three of those fights were different. The first fight was perfect RNG. The second one was like middle RNG, you know, like a middle pattern. It's just usually the pattern you get most of the time. And then the third one is bad. Well, not terrible. You probably lose like 10 or 15 seconds, which in the grand scheme of things, it's not that big of a deal. But ideally, you want that first pattern. You want that. But usually you have to settle for the second. So that's 3 fights, and that's kind of good. I could showcase the bad ones too. So that's what makes the emulator so great. Because I couldn't do this on wouldn't be able to do this on hardware. That's chapter 7. Pretty hard chapter. It's got some difficult stuff in it. That one is really let me think. Yeah, I would say chapter 7 is where it really determines if you want to learn this game or not. It's difficult, especially Red Room. Red Room takes a while. Those blue and red rooms are hard. And fighting Alma that way takes a bit of practice too. So it's a difficult one. There's a lot of technical stuff in it. But you'll get it with practice, obviously. We'll do chapter 8. So this marks around the halfway point. Roughly. So this chapter is kind of just a transition into chapter 9. Sort of, it's just introducing the soldiers, the guys with those bayonets that are the side of the swords. So yeah. I don't know why I can't click. I have to click into the game twice for it to work. You don't need to make a save here. So these soldiers, optimally, I mean, at first starting out, you can kind of kill them however the hell you want. I mean, it doesn't really matter. But the optimal strat is this. Okay. I did that damn near completely wrong. So that Inferno, I made the mistake. You're supposed to delay it just a little bit longer and you kill the first 3. And then the next 3, it delays them, the next 3. So what you do is, you roll into the wall here, roll into it, do a gleam, and kill the next 3 with a gleaming blade. Or, a new way of doing it is kill the first 3 with an Inferno. And then, when you see when you get a feel for the spawn, then you pop your next Inferno. And then kill the next batch. I don't like doing that personally. For one thing, I'm not used to it. And doing the gleam strat, killing the next 3 with a gleam, you get 2 UT'd essence, or ultimate technique essence, which are 7 times the amount of essence they drop. I think that's around 1500 essence, if I recall, which is, 3 hills, or it's almost another devil. So I keep that in mind. So now we go up here. Remember I told you about on landing jumps? This is one of the places where we use on landing jumps. So on landing jump is forward and A. You can hear me. Yeah, you can hear me tapping my left thumbstick. So you tap it forward and you press A at the same time, right as Ree's feet hit the ground. If you don't do it like that, if you just hold forward and hit A, you get this, which is slow. You want to do this. And you can do this in any direction. Doing it, some directions are harder for me to do. Side to side's pretty hard. Forward back is the easiest. But you never have to do on landings backwards or sideways or whatever. It's usually forward. So an incline like this, you want to do on landing, it saves you like a second or 2 because it's faster than roll jumping. But if you're not comfortable with doing on landings, you can just roll jump. But if you want to do it the optimal way, you do on landing. This is just general movement. race to the store. Don't linger here. If you didn't pick up this hill earlier, you can pick it up now. It's kind of a freebie. Okay, this next room is 2 turret guys. And they can either take 2 arrows or 3. And no, it's usually 3 arrows, but sometimes they take 2 or sometimes they take 4. So yeah, be aware of that. Watch your kill counter. I missed. This next thing, this chopper, the intended way to do this, I guess, is to hold block and wait for him to leave. Or you can shoot him with the arrow 4 times, which is the faster method. I won't go over the advanced way to do that just because it's a pain and there's other guides for that, so I'm just showing the route and the basics. I shoot arrows there to sort of mark where my arrows are going because there's no crosshair in this game. This guy takes 2 or 3. Right here, not everybody does this, but I personally like to do this. Actually, most people do this. They equip smoke bomb. It makes going into the skull door a lot easier and safer. So I would highly recommend it. So yeah. Equip smoke bomb. Try to get as close to the door as you can. Because that guy takes 10 years to die. Or his corpse to whatever, decompose or whatever the hell it does. So door unlocked, hit the door. Hit B, go smoke bomb, and roll into the door. Takes a while to be able to roll into that door clean like that, like how I did. Just takes practice. I'll say this too. Don't get discouraged about like your fights going bad or whatever, you dying. Focus on finishing runs. When I start a new game or a new category, I really like to finish runs. I'd say when you're first getting started, like no matter what, finish at least 10 runs. Finish 10 runs. And then start resetting, in my opinion. Because there's a lot of invisible time save you're doing. Like invisible, like improvements, so to say. Like you look at the fight, you can see that you're doing a bad fight, right? But I'd say the most important part of normal any percent is your movement, in my opinion. I'm not sure if other people would agree, but movement is extremely important in normal any percent. I would say that over the fights. Getting better at the fights takes time, but the movement, mastering your movement, is the hardest thing to do in the game, in my opinion. Now, if you try to run the other difficulty, the fighting gets really hard and more technical and all that. So, but for normal difficulty, the fighting is fairly basic and it's not too hard. And the enemies are, not as difficult to fight, and they don't deal as much damage. So, the fighting is pretty forgiving in normal percent. But hard, very hard, Master Ninja, it gets a lot more difficult. And obviously movement's not as important. But normal is, the movement's extremely important. So the more runs you do, naturally your movement will just get better. Like you do 10 runs, you'll notice your movement just improving. Your fights will take a bit longer. But it's all about improving that movement. That's another free heal. It's not mandatory. You can pick it up if you want. The reason I popped that smoke bomb there is to sort of line you up with that hallway and then jump in. Pick up the boat. Shoot the target. That's it. That's pretty much chapter 10. Oh, I clicked out of the game. Yeah, chapter 8's it's just whatever. It's a bit of a transition into the chapter 9. They just wanted to introduce the military soldiers and, show them off before you go into their base. So this chapter can be, it's one of those chapters that's kind of boring, but it's still as important as any other. You can still lose a lot of time in this chapter. Like, you can lose 15 seconds if you don't take it seriously. Same as chapter 4. Chapter 4 is kind of one of those, just a empty chapter. It's just introducing the city of Tyron and all that. But it's important, just in my opinion, to, execute those chapters. Take them as seriously as any other chapter. Like for chapter 4, trying to go for a sub 3 IGT in this chapter. Chapter 8, I'd say a good time for it is starting out probably getting in under 4 minutes. And then after that, probably a 3:45. And then the optimal time for this chapter is a 3:32 or something, or a 3:30. Yep. Okay, this is another save I would make. Chapter 9's got some. This is like this is the first sequence break in the game. In the warehouse area. And I'll show that in a little bit. Takes a lot of practice to do the skip. It's not easy to do. Make 2 saves if you want. This chapter is going to be hard to showcase on emulator because I get a lot of frame drops with the tank fight and the chopper. So I'll just show it the best I can. a lot happened there. Those turret guys, they either take 2 arrows or 3. That key pickup can be difficult. You want to be directly on that, because sometimes Ryu will want to attack the enemies next to him. So rolling into that key and mashing X is good. Landing directly on top of it and hitting X immediately is good. And also too, the explosive arrows. That's a mandatory pickup. You have to pick those up. That's a mandatory pickup. You need that double. Okay, this here, you just jump over and hit Y. Just watch my inputs. Up and Y. You have to switch to Shuriken or Incendiary here. I always use Shuriken. So it's... Let me just do it. I messed it up. This is the hardest skip in the game, in my opinion. That's gonna take you a while to do. I recommend doing this till you can get it 10 times in a row. So it's that move is called the air destruction slash. This move that pushes Ryu forward slightly. Throwing the Shuriken pushes him forward even more, and then the Y pushes him up even more. So try to line yourself about right where I'm standing here. Right about here is the sweet spot. Jump. It's really hard to do while I'm talking. So watch my inputs. Okay, let me try it again. So yeah, you can play that back in slow motion too if you want. So if you can't do that, if it's too difficult, you have to do the robots in this room. You have to kill 15 helicopter robots. Probably takes like a minute. I would highly recommend getting that down. Every run, I would just, instead of doing the robots, I would just try to land this. It's not super hard, but it's difficult enough. This is another great spirit. Pick it up if you want it. Here's another skip. So jump up here, UB cancel, and then Y. This little skip here probably stays about 5 seconds. BY. Just look at my inputs. Then you can also do this here. Wait. I see there's another player called Loner Hero. He's probably the only one that does this skip. So you can do it like this, I think, maybe. I don't know if I'd bother with that second skip. Nah, I don't know. It saves about a second, but I wouldn't recommend it at first. That's another small heal if you want it. Gotta get that key card, it's mandatory. Right here, equip explosive arrows. Then mash that key card. There's 11 soldiers here. Watch your kill counter. Kill all 11. Kill them in the order I killed them. Just back and forth. Okay, this next part's the tanks. Let me make a save just in case it gets weird. So, the tank fight. There are 2 arrow crates in this room. You'll want to hide behind this first arrow crate. I'll show you where it's in. And it, for some reason, it shields you from getting hit from the cannon on the tank, not from the gunner, but it'll shield you from the cannon shot, and I'll show that. So right here at the beginning, you mash start, skip the cutscene, and then jump to your left. And then do 1 on landing jump, and that on landing jump will force that tank to shoot at you, and it will miss. So you want to get him, you want him to shoot that shot, because if he doesn't shoot, he'll hit you later. X. Use the phono. Roll in. So you want to shoot exactly where I'm shooting. You want to be shooting like in the middle of that tank. When the tank's got its back towards you, you want to be shooting like the top of that exhaust area to keep that gunner down. If that gunner stays up, he'll just keep chipping at your health. You don't want that. So yeah, shoot the arrows exactly the way I shot them. Need to heal here. Don't use a small, use a great spirit. There are a lot more great spirit elixirs along the route than small elixirs. By the way, this chapter's tough because it takes a while to get good at the bow, or to be able to use the bow, I should say. Make a save here. Make a save here. Okay, this is the save you want so far. Helicopter save. This save before the warehouse skip. Alma. Red room, blue room save. This is a safety save before the pit. And chapter 3 before the zip line. Those are important. To be honest, when you go through this game for the first time, I'd make a save in every chapter, except for chapter 1. These guys can die in either 1 or 2 shots. Not much to explain there, just take down the helicopter and switch to explosive arrows here. Right here we shoot down this comm tower. If those soldiers delay shooting you, that means they're about to throw a grenade. Roll out of the way like I did. Because normally, probably about 70% of the time, they will be shooting you immediately. But that other 30%, they're going to want to throw a grenade right away. So if you're not getting shot at immediately, that means they're about to throw a grenade. And it's something you got. It's intuition. So you gotta get a feel for the timing for it, because sometimes you might feel they're about to throw a grenade, but they won't. So just take some experience with the game. Right, here's just movements. This next room is risky movement. I'll show you. I don't know if it's like a YOLO strat. It's not really a YOLO strat. It's just a clever movement, and if you execute it right, there's really no risk involved. Unless you're new. If you're afraid of this room, use explosive arrows. This is the way I do it. Or I wouldn't say it wasn't risky. Don't be afraid to use heals. Yeah, these guys are being jerks. It's been a while since I've gotten trolled by those guys, but yeah. It's fine now. Use a heal and move on. There are plenty of heals in the game. Trust me, you're gonna be making mistakes. You can do that room one of two ways. You can do the explosive arrows like I did, or you can use an inferno, which I didn't have one because I used one in the first fight. Typically in the first fight you just dodge them, but the next fight you have to kill them to get that key card. So you either jump in the middle, kill them with inferno, or you can use explosive arrows. And in my opinion, inferno is safer because you get iframes while you're doing your Nimpo. This next room, I like to hop over these guys. No wall running. Just hop. Kind of like that. Roll into the console and mash X. And that's chapter 9. Mash, mash, mash. Mash this cutscene. Do not let the cutscenes play, because it's RTA. Aim for getting this chapter under 7 minutes and 30 seconds when you're starting out. A good chapter 9 is around a 6:40, and an optimal chapter 9 is a 6 minutes and 20 seconds. That is a really good chapter 9. So yeah, that's chapter 9. Alright, chapter 10. I think this is where I'll stop the first half of the tutorial. Yeah. Alright guys. Hopefully this has been helpful. If you have any questions, just ask me below. I will, there's also a Ninja Gaiden Discord. There are many other tutorials. There are tutorials by someone named Digital T, JTB, that's JAYTAB 123, The Godfather Dictator. Who else? They've made tons of tutorials, just tons. Especially JTB, I highly recommend watching JTB's videos for like just the basics. He's really good at breaking the game down, and his videos are a lot, they're edited and they're a lot more prettier than this, so it's not just raw footage. He's really good at explaining all the basic mechanics of the game. I'm just sort of showcasing what's needed in normal 80%. So check those guys out. You'll be able to find those guys through speedrun.com, YouTube, everywhere. So yeah, and I'll link it below as well. So yeah. Alright guys. Thanks for watching, and good luck.